today, well I say today, tonight, we are pulling a Ford F150 two-wheel drive 5.4 liter transmission out of this truck right here. Let me see what the miles are. This is 191,000 miles, 551. I've already got the transmission. I am going to pull some codes on it and see what codes it was throwing or if it's still throwing. This here is a transmission from O'Reilly's, which is a rebuild transmission warehouse. Ships to O'Reilly's. Okay, so here is the new rebuild. Now, I think the total cost on this thing was $2,500, and it's a $500 core. So, I'm going to take the old one out tonight. It's not day, as you can see. It is dark out there with lightning and a storm possibly coming in. So, anyway, I'm going to get this thing set up on the lift before we end up having some electrical problems and the lift doesn't work because of the lightning. Okay, I pulled the codes. Now, there was only 3 in it. So, we have a P0731 FF, which is a transmission gear number 1 incorrect ratio. P0732 FF, transmission gear number 2 incorrect ratio. P1783 FF, that is a transmission over temperature condition. So pretty much the transmission has got smoked, and that is the reason of replacing this transmission. So, getting started, I still hooked up to this, but I got my lift, well, I got my lift in position, got it set up, and I'm going to disconnect this battery to do it. And the first thing you should do is end up disconnecting the battery before you start working on anything, as far as taking starter wires loose and all that. What I am going to do, I'm going to leave those codes in there right now, and I'm going to go get this other cheaper one code reader that we have. It's a Bosch, not really that cheap, but I'm going to put it on there and I'm going to see if it pulls these codes up or not. So I'm going to leave the codes in there. So we're just going to hit escape. IM monitor tests are complete. Hit enter. It's working. Reading codes. No codes. ECM says it has 3 codes. We want to read them. Gear 1 incorrect ratio. Gear 2 incorrect ratio. Transmission over temperature. So, I'm going to go back. Diagnostic codes. I'm going to say erase. Yes, we want to erase them. Enter. See if it'll pull it up one more time. 0 codes remaining. And we just unplug this thing. Alright. So, what I'm going to do here is unplug the battery and start taking this thing apart. We got it up on the lift, and what we're going to start with is going to be back here. I'm going to get these bolts out. I'm actually going to soak them with a little bit of a PB Blaster, WD-40. And if you would, guys, if this video is of some help to you, or if you're just watching I'd appreciate it if you would please go down, like, and subscribe. It helped me out greatly trying to grow this channel, bringing content to y'all, whether it's this or working on the Corvette or the Jeep. So anyway, I've already soaked these with WD-40, and we can just kind of start unplugging stuff because it's going to be coming off. Some of these are not very easy. These have to come off, these shields got to come out of the way to get some of these lines that go to it. They go up and over. You got plugs up here that are going to have to come off. This bracket's coming off. I'm going to take that off. So it's not an easy task. First we're going to get the drive shaft, then we're going to start working on this, the cross member, the transmission mount, and the linkages and the wiring. So let me get some of this done and I'll get back with you. Alright guys, there is a bolt right there, this is on your exhaust. These things are usually really hard to get out, and I had to use an air impact on this side. This one, we basically, light, nope, they're not working. There we go. Basically, you want to torch it, get it nice and hot until it's about to melt and drip on your skin, so when it comes off you can burn your hand. Anyway, you do that until it almost starts smoking. Then you get this up in there. Get this up in there that doesn't want to cooperate. Oh, sorry if you can't see, but neither can I. Oh, there, it's on. Alright. So, if you have problems, never mind. If you have problems, just soak them, and then if they still don't, start heating them. Okay guys, well, see that? We got it loose, and we got that side loose. Now, for my transmission jack, I had to make this little box because the transmission has this hump so it won't fit flat on here. I don't like that. So that is a part. To get that apart, loosen this up and slide that back. I went ahead and took this off there so I could get this moved out of my way. And the other problem is this one. I got it loose, but I was trying to manage to move all this together and slide it out, but you end up hitting right here, right here. You can't really twist it much. We're gonna try that next, twisting it this way. If not, that's gonna come loose. Okay, show you where I'm at here. Basically, this is typical Ford. Ends up being a pain to work on. And you see that nut right there? That nut is wanting to try and round off, of course. Very hard to get at. You can't get a socket on it, you can only get a wrench, and it's usually crooked. So what I'm going to try to do, because I can get a better angle on it if this transmission is out of the way, which I'll have to pull the torque converter off after I pull the transmission out. But I'm going to have to take this out of the way, which is 4 bolts, this will drop down out of my way. And basically we got everything except for the bell housing bolts out and the torque converter bolts. So everything's unhooked this side, everything's unhooked this side, transmission lines, dipstick tubes right there. So we got 2 bolts on the very top that need to come out, and 3 bolts on this side, and 3 I think on this side. And then we'll try to pull the transmission back and down to clear that firewall, which I think there's enough room, and that'll give me a little bit better chance of getting the bolts off of the torque converter. Alright guys, I got you all mounted to the side of the lift arm here, and this is going to be the moment of truth if this thing's gonna actually come out off the motor or not, and if the torque converter is gonna stay on or not. I'm not too sure. Gonna go. And it looks like we got it sliding. That's a plus. Alright. Now, let's get it past the gas line. Let's drop down a little bit. There's some transmission fluid. Yeah. Let it drip and drain here for a minute. That's a lot of tranny fluid. Wow. It's going to be a mess to clean up later. Awesome. There we go. Oh yeah. Now we're dumping. It's not the cleanest way to do it. It's a mess. It smells burnt, like really bad. Now that it's here, I'll show y'all what the point of this was. Oops. See, now we can literally get straight on with that bolt. Instead of having this stupid lip there, in there. Yeah, it hadn't quite slid off of the shaft yet. That's why. And I'm hitting up there just enough to not let it go. Alright, so I'm going to try and loosen that one, spin it, loosen them all. I might push it back on and take it out as one. We'll see. Okay, it's been a late night, so I did have to stop and mount some Mickey Thompson drag radials on my kid's car on the back. But yeah, it's 4 o'clock. That was a fight. That's a Ford. So there it is, torque converter and all. So yeah, you can slide it back, you know, 3-4 inches. Not enough to get the shaft out of the torque converter, but you can get it back enough to where you can get a wrench on it straight and hit it with a hammer and break those loose and get them off. Alright guys, we got the old one out. Already got the new one up in here. Now we got the bolts in already, so it's bolted in tight. I switched over all the stuff for the neutral safety and the I think that's the speed sensors. Got the wiring to put on. Anyway, so this video is sponsored by me, and I would appreciate it if y'all would go down, hit the like and subscribe. The channel needs it, needs a lot more subscribers. So we're gonna get busy on this, get this put in. I got the bolts lined up in there, if you can see them. Probably not. Right there. They're a pain. So I got a couple different wrenches that I'm going to try. There's the bolts for that. I'm going to tighten it up, get that on, get the exhaust in, the cross member. Not much left. Alright, we got the exhaust hanging in here. I have not tightened up the flange bolts on the exhaust yet. I was going to show you all this little connection here. Basically, you don't pull it all the way apart. You pull it apart enough out of this little slot so you can tip this one down. Now this is with it out of the truck. You'll hang this one down here as you fish this side up in there, and then you can raise this side up in and kind of twist it up in there and push this back together and tighten it up. So just a little bit of a tip there on that. Same with this one. I knocked this piece back, so when I go back together, I'm going to raise it up here and knock it back together. I took these brackets off so I can get this whole thing to move around. So we're getting pretty close. Okay, we have the transmission back in there. We got everything tied together. I've actually already taken it out and drove it around the parking lot. Made sure it shifted through the gears. It feels pretty good, strong, solid. When you get a transmission from O'Reilly's, if you look in your book, that transmission is a 4R70 or a 75E. Now the book says it takes 13.9 quarts. Well, if you do that, you're going to be way over full. I added 8 quarts, had it running for 15 minutes, went through the gears, checked it, it was a little bit low, added another quart. Now I'm at the top on full. So took 9 quarts, not 13.9. So if you go off the book and you just fill it up, you're going to be way over full. So it could cause some problems if you overfill the transmission. Anyway guys, I hope this helped some people, and if you would, just go down, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll have some more videos coming up. I think I'm doing a Denali, I think it's an 05 Yukon Denali all-wheel drive, probably in a week or so, and we're going to be tearing into that one, going over it along with the other stuff. I actually got some Corvette electronic headlight motors that I'm going to be installing hopefully tomorrow or the next day, and gaskets and seals and stuff for the car. So alright guys, we'll talk to you later.